U.S. President. U.S. will not declare war on China. NewsWeb Breaking News, NBN. U.S. President Carmen Carliotti told a press conference today that the U.S. would not be making a declaration of war with China, despite escalating hostilities in the Taiwan Strait. "We have no quarrel with the people of China," Carliotti said, "but its leaders have chosen the path of military conflict with Taiwan and the coalition of nations that stands behind it." Pressed on whether she saw the conflict spreading beyond the Taiwan Strait, Carliotti did not rule out the possibility. "We have warned China to rein in its constant drumbeat of bellicose threats to the peace and safety of the Indo-Pacific nations. We take it as a positive signal China has withdrawn its aircraft carriers either to ports in China or to neutral third country ports. They must remain in port. Given their pivotal role in supporting a possible invasion of Taiwan, we regard China's aircraft carriers as legitimate targets in this conflict. And so let me make this clear. If China's aircraft carriers leave port before this conflict is resolved, they will be attacked, wherever they are." China has announced harsh restrictions on trade and economic relations with the nations supporting Taiwan, including the U.S. And on this topic, Carliotti said, "The Chinese leadership wants to paint this conflict as a war against the West, but it isn't. Several of our coalition partners are Asian nations. These tariffs and sanctions are going to hurt the Chinese people more than they will hurt the U.S. and its allies. And let me put this straight. This conflict is about Taiwan. It will end as soon as China renounces its ambition to invade Taiwan and agrees to pursue a diplomatic solution to the Taiwan question." President Carliotti was speaking against the background of 4 weeks of conflict among Taiwan, its defense coalition partners, and China, sparked by Chinese attacks on humanitarian flights delivering aid to Taiwan. These attacks were followed by the Taiwan Air Force's destruction of a Chinese invasion force en route to seize the Taiwanese islands of Matsu and Jinmun. Both the U.S. and China suffered from attacks on their vulnerable aircraft carriers and have since pulled back their strategic assets into the Eastern Pacific in the case of the U.S. and to friendly ports in the case of China. In recent weeks, a stalemate has settled over the conflict, with China and Taiwan trading missile and air strikes and allies providing limited military, logistical, and intelligence support, according to Pentagon officials. Meanwhile, China has continued its military buildup along the strait, strengthening air defenses in the face of constant coalition air attacks on troop and material concentrations on the Chinese mainland, intended to prevent an invasion. China has control of the air and sea along its coast, but coalition attacks, particularly by stealth aircraft, are able to penetrate to strike at the logistics hubs on the Chinese mainland, which China is using to try to reassemble its invasion force, according to Michelle Yi, Asia-Pacific military analyst with the Institute for the Study of Conflict. The coalition forces have control of the air over Taiwan, the Philippine Sea, and Western Pacific, but the South China Sea and the East China Sea between Korea, Japan, and China are the next hotspots. Yi said ISC expects the next phase of the military conflict to play out at sea.